Title of the presentation of the NRCS is our regulation in 2021, and thank you for this opportunity to present to us, to you, a precise or a concise snapshot of our regulation in 2021. The presentation content will be as follows. An introduction to the NRCS and in particular our division, the food and associated industries, NRCS and COVID-19, the impact of COVID-19 on regulation, NRCS and Brexit, impact of Brexit on regulation, other regulatory developments, and then finally a conclusion. The NRCS is responsible to the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, and we report to the technical infrastructure of the DTIC, where the agencies involved in SQAM, as alluded to by Penny, are also giving their contributions for standardization, quality, accreditation, and legal metrology, and then this will filter through to the agro-processing cluster. NRCS administers various compulsory specifications that are also called technical regulations in the food and related industries. We have a mandate in terms of the NRCS Act and its object to protect human health, human safety, and the environment. And then also the NRCS Act was amended by the Legal Metrology Act that looks at weights and measures the requirements thereof. We are also the competent authority for fish and fishery products in South Africa, where we certify various fish and fishery products globally. A summary of the 5 business unit. We also apply the farm to fork principle as alluded to by the presentation by National Department of Health. But we are looking at our farm, for example, starts with a fishing vessel to the fork, and then also from the fish production farms to the fork. As I've said, we administer various compulsory specifications that are also called technical regulations, and there are currently 10 compulsory specifications or VCs. There's one for canned meat products, processed meat products, aquacultured live and chilled raw bivalve mollusks. Examples of the bivalve mollusks are your oysters and mussels. There's a compulsory specification for canned fish and canned marine mollusks and crustaceans, live lobsters, frozen fish, frozen marine mollusks and frozen products, frozen shrimps, langoustines and crabs, live aquacultured abalone, a VC for frozen rock lobster and frozen rock lobster products, and then also a VC in its old form for smoked snook. NRCS is also, through the division, responsible for regulating imported products, falling under the mandate of the various VCs, certification of these products as well as indicated as the competent authority. We are operating in terms of ISO 17020, and we are accredited by SANAS. We train our staff in terms of international best practices. The European Union, for example, prescribe certain training objectives and training areas, and we comply to these by means of documented procedures and directives. We also provide technical support to government, our main shareholder, the industry, and then also other stakeholders in the regulatory domain. During the onset of COVID-19, we've devised a COVID-19 plan. In this plan, we've got documented a risk assessment policy and procedures. Part of the policies and procedures are a risk exposure framework and then also a risk response framework. We've drafted various operational risk assessments and management plans that were geared for each division. And I'm going to focus on what our division did, the food and associated industries. We've compiled national contingency plans for our processes and various offices in the country. And our management plans included the sampling of products, factory and vessel inspections, imports inspections, export inspections, certification of imports, certification of exports, and then also we've devised various questionnaires to protect our staff and to reduce risk exposure at the various ports of entry, sampling points, and then also our inspection points that include factories and vessels. Then in terms of our reduced capacity, we have reduced capacity in terms of our operations, where we are alternating our warm bodies at the office and out into the field. And the result is that the intensity of our inspections are not as per pre-COVID levels. So we are reducing that and managing that in order to maintain a fully functional food safety and inspection program. What emanated from our COVID-19 program is that the officials are working from home, and we've instituted monitoring programs in order to comply with our quality management system. The office hours were reduced to prevent exposure, possible exposure to the coronavirus. We've implemented a hybrid system of inspecting food business operators, both virtually and physically. Our food safety verifications or audits that it's called as well are done in the same modality. And then new factories and vessels are inspected physically because we deem these operators as high risk. Then also the certification of imports and exports are unchanged. What I would also like to add related to the third bullet or block on this slide is that we've also adopted a system, and we've participated in a system of Codex Alimentarius participation, the international standardization body, where they've switched over to virtual platforms, and we currently involved with the National Department of Health and Dalat Agriculture with the Codex Committee on General Principles. NRCS and Brexit. I think my colleagues dealt with this point earlier this morning, and that is that the SADC EU EPA was rolled over to the South African Customs Union Mozambique UK partnership, and the DTI negotiated continued recognition of trade value chains during Brexit. And it was agreed that the UK safety and health regulations affecting agricultural trade would continue to match those of the EU. And that is also applicable to our mandate of fish and fishery products, and also the possible exports of processed meat products to the UK. Then the trade of agricultural products, as I've said, is unaffected. For fish and fishery products, we've implemented a new EU or UK health certificate from the 1st of January, and we have our implementation pains, but at this stage we haven't had any rejections of fish and fishery products to the United Kingdom including Northern Ireland and the other areas of the UK. We are not sure at this stage whether other official controls may follow by the UK in terms of listing of establishments, new regulations, and even a new version of the EU food law. And we hope that the EU competent authorities having the mandate for fish and fishery products and what we certify in South Africa are considering a portal where they will announce on food regulations so that we may navigate the portal in good time and interpret the regulations in order to assist the industry for implementation before the due dates. Then we have some degree of uncertainty whether, for example, the EU audit outcomes will impact trade with the UK, whether there is a mechanism of information exchange between the UK and the EU, and then also the short-term stability with regards to sanitary requirements, whether that is going to change. And then we also anticipate the renegotiation of terms and conditions with regards to phytosanitary requirements, in particular for fish and fishery products. Then our regulation in 2021, what we predict will be the status quo and what may happen during the year. We are aware that due to scientific epidemiological predictions that the persistence of the COVID-19 pandemic will still be us for a long time or for the foreseeable future. We've adopted, as per our business plan, a risk-based approach of regulation, RBA approach as we call it, and we will persist with the virtual and physical hybrid inspection and verification system of operators, and then also the implementation of new EU and UK sanitary requirements that may be announced on their portals in the future with regards to export certification and other official controls. Some regulatory developments with regards to our mandate. Linda has alluded to our enforcement of the processed meat VC. It was implemented from 2019. We're currently busy with further implementation. We did ask for an amendment, or we directed an amendment to the Minister of the DTIC to have a change in the VC with regards to the classification of the group under which salami and similar products fall. So that is very important for the industry to note that amendment in order to establish what products will be regulated or are regulated by the NRCS. Then in terms of diversification of markets by our local industry, we are still pursuing sanitary compliance of the aquaculture industry in consultation and cooperation with the National Department of Agriculture, or DALAD, or DEF in this case, Department of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries. And we are also participating in high-level discussions on the Border Management Agency. And as alluded to once again by Ms. Campbell, this may impact our regulatory functions moving forward. Then we've reviewed some compulsory specifications that need to be implemented. Compulsory specifications that were reviewed are for frozen lobster and frozen fish. And we've also directed some new VCs for the SABS to consider in the field of dried abalone and smoked fish, and then also crude fish oil. The reviewed and amended South African national standards will be implemented during this year, and there are 6 months grace for implementation by the industry to take note of. And the VCs that are involved is 5/5 or the sciences, 5/5 for frozen fish, 5/7 for canned fish, and then also Science 2788 for frozen prawns and langoustines. Then also we have new sciences that will be going through the system this year. It's Science 3091 that deals with fresh fish, marine mollusks and crustaceans, and then also Science 2091 that deals with aquaculture sea urchins. So our process is basically where either a science or a VC or a combination of the two may be reviewed at any given time, and then there is a process how we submit this to the Minister of DTIC. Then we also have an upcoming or an announced proposed EU audit this year, and we are in the process of preparing for the audit. The EU has provided us, as is their protocol, with a pre-audit questionnaire that we need to complete in consultation with other stakeholders, regulatory stakeholders, and the scope of the audit will be to assess our organization of official controls for placing on the market in the EU of fish and fishery products. Then in conclusion, as I've said before, it's going to be business as usual in unusual circumstances, as stated by Penny. It's the same with the NRCS. We foresee that COVID-19 will be with us for some time, and then we are also responding continuously to latest developments to manage our operations in terms of official controls, and all our operations are covered. We did not exclude any operations during our contingency plans and also during our management plans of COVID. We cover everything, but it is based on risk. Then finally, new or reviewed post-Brexit sanitary requirements shall be implemented if and when required. We hope the portal will be there. We will analyze new regulations, in particular to fish and fishery products, processed meat products, and then we will notify the industry and comply with the various anticipated deadlines. Thank you very much.